What is it that you keep in check today that got you from 4 to 60 cars from an experience standpoint?
Would you first agree that Taj is like at a decent scale?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think their quality has degraded because they are at a decent scale?
No. I don't disagree on the
So
fact that I don't believe that it'll decelerate.
Correct. So like the general belief is that, okay, if scale happens, automatically like experience then suffers. I would like to counter that saying like how you scale matters, which in turn will determine how you've been able to maintain that experience or elevate that experience also as a service provider.
I think if everybody, like of course we have SOPs, right?
Yeah.
Like which we keep drilling into our drivers, into our other team members and all of that.
Right.
We repeat that every month, every week, as often as it is required, right? And it helps that if the entire company's incentives are aligned,
right?
If you do these things right, this is how you make money, this is how you get successful. It helps a lot.
Can you go deeper on that incentive? What is the incentive structure there? And how do you incentivize the driver to do this?
So incentives for drivers, they have a incentive and that is driven entirely based on customer feedback. Right?
All right.
So if customer doesn't say bad things about them or says good things about them, they get that money. And if the customer says bad things, they do not get that money. So it's very, very linearly aligned.
It's binary.
It's not binary, but there is a significant impact.
Right.
On every time, a customer complains about a driver.
Right.
So that is by itself a huge thing. And by repeating our SOPs and the brand of Shoffr that we want to portray to our guests, right? Over 15 months now, more or less. Yeah. Now there is a core of drivers who have imbibed these values and the way that we operate, the things that we appreciate or not appreciate. And that kind of percolates now as a culture thing among the driver community as well.
Interesting.
I'm a firm believer and proponent, in that incentives are the superpowers that drive any organization and human behavior. So your incentives...
Is there a sticks model also to this? Like I understand the carrots that there are. Is there a sticks model also?
Of course. We get 3 negative feedbacks in like a month and you're like an equivalent of a pip for drivers, right? Or you're put on bench and so on. And we then have a chat. Like the stick is more like having a chat and understanding what went wrong. And a lot of times people aren't fit for, let's say, Shoffr. They come from like a very different mentality, and while you can change or improve driving skills, you can't change character or like behavior that easily.
True.
So we are a lot more mindful in our hiring of like the behavior and the personality of that person as opposed to their, they could be like extremely experienced driver, but if they are not cut out in a certain way that's required for, let's say, a 5-star experience, this is not the place for them.